Good morning and welcome to the Brazilian American Chamber of Commerce's webinar entitled Brazil at the Forefront of Open Banking. We are honored to have a great group of specialists today to discuss the evolution and current state of open banking in Brazil.
Well, good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you for having me here today. Thank you, John, for the invite. As John mentioned, my name is João André, and I am responsible for the banking regulation at the Central Bank of Brazil. And it's an honor to have the opportunity to present how we are implementing the Brazilian model for open finance. We saw the opportunity of changing the financial system into an ecosystem in which institutions interoperate and the portability becomes easier, in which data by itself should be no longer the differential. So the differential should be the institution's use of data to provide better services to client. So based, of course, in some experience we are seeing around the world, mainly in Europe and UK is a good example. We developed our model for open finance. So basically it is standardized sharing of data and services between financial institutions and other licensed institutions. One important premise here is that the customers have to previously consent to the sharing of their data, and the consent expires in maximum 12 months. And all of these occur through standardized APIs in a safe, agile, precise, and convenient journey. With an open system, we pretend to improve competition, promote innovation, increase the efficiency of the system. So for instance, through improvements in internal process, and also promote financial inclusion. So we expect that open finance to really help consumers to get access to financial products and services. So considering this complexity, we decide to implement open finance gradually. So in 4 phases, starting in 2021, so last year. In the first phase, financial institutions had to implement their own open data. So institutions have to share data on their access channel, on their traditional banking services they offer and they distribute, such as information about kind of accounts they offer, kind of credit cards and credit operations. It's a very simple measure, but I think it's very important for competition. We are seeing several fintechs, for instance, developing some applications based on the open APIs to compare banking products and services, so making life easier to consumers. In the second phase, financial institutions had to make it possible for the customer to share their KYC data, so identification data, and transactional data, so the data from accounts. An important point here is it's up to the consumer to decide whether or not to share their information with other financial institutions. So this is a consumer right and decision. And we are already delivered most of this phase. So in the third phase, payment initiation has been implemented, starting with PIX. So we're starting with the instant payment arrangement. And we have some other payments instruments that will be plugged, but later. And finally, in the fourth phase, we have the open data. We start to work with non-traditional banking services. So like insurance, open pension funds, investments, foreign exchange, so different products beyond the banking, the regular banking services and products. So it's important to note here, the phase 4 are only beginning. And we understand the open finance is evolving ecosystem, so all these phases are evolving. Open finance is an ongoing project. Over the next few years, we will improve and expand it. Of course, we have some big challenges, but we are already dealing with these challenges. So first, to improve the success of API calls and improve also the quality of the data being shared. It's a very important point. Second is to build the Open Finance Definitive organization. We have now a temporary organization, so we have some work to do. Third is to improve the visibility of the real benefits of the open finance and consequently improve the consumer engagement. Fourth is to create interoperability between open financing and other initiatives such as open insurance. And fifth, to incorporate other payments methods. That's an important part also, besides PICs. And finally, is to introduce loan proposals to the open finance arrangements.
Morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity for being here to present such a trendy topic that anticipates the future of digital services on the open financial system. Today, I'm gonna talk about regulatory compliance at BBs and how we use open finance to accelerate our business and best serve our customers. Open finance, as mentioned by João André, brought the customer to the center of the stage. Now the customer really owns his data. What seems a little obvious, in fact, is not. For information between financial institutions was to carry a lot of documents, but doesn't necessarily means taking along your good payer history, for example, or relationship time. A new account means a new history. Open finance guarantees that the customers really own their own information and therefore their financial history. Thus, the 10 years of successful relationship with institution A can be used as a high quality credential when establishing a new relationship with institution B, for example. The focus must be on the customer, on their needs and their life cycle. But what's next for us? Our focus is to keep acting as a protagonist in the scope of regulatory open finance, so we can contribute even more to the establishment of an ecosystem that really leads to the best environment for the development of new digital solutions and that delivers the best possible experience to the customers. We continue to improve the use of data receiving through open finance so we can accelerate the creation of products for each moment of the customer's life, thus generating the new source of revenues to BB, for BB, and the recognition of our brand, which, as you like to say, that cares of what's important to each one and that delivers everything you can imagine. We still have challenges, stages coming up, as said by João André. The interoperability between open banking, open insurance, and open investment creating open finance for a conglomerated like Banco do Brasil that operates in all of these fronts is without a doubt an opportunity that we will not miss and on which we are already working.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks, Raquel and João. I think, first of all, right, I think open banking is evolving, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, right? João explained really well on open banking, evolved to open finance, right? That goes beyond open banking, allowing a much wider range of third-party financial data to be shared. And I think the Brazilian Central Bank, together with the Brazilian banks, are doing an incredible job on evolving in this direction. But what we believe is that at some point, this will go beyond open finance, right? And will move into an open economy that will bring even more benefits, both for the financial institutions as well as for the consumers, right? And what is the open economy, right? It's the next stage of open data sharing, right? You go beyond just sharing your financial informations, right, through with third parties provider using the APIs, right, to cover a wide range of applications. And you go beyond that and you start sharing other types of information that together with the financial information have a potential, right, for a much vaster offers for consumers and business alike, right, including big database analytics, as well as individual offerings such as holistic optimization of all types of contractual relationships. So I think we in Brazil are doing a nice job in evolving to open finance. We already are seeing a move into open economy, which will be even better and healthier for the market as a whole. And basically what we are seeing, right, is traditional banks, right? They are using much of third-party channels, focus on offering single feature products, right? Like account aggregations on loan channels and offering like banking services, making their products or their services available to third parties, right? Either through the third-party channels or through partnership with those third parties that are different models. But this is the main move that we see on the traditional banks, right? When we see the fintechs, right? Fintechs are playing both through own channels as well as third parties, but with a greater focus on a more end-to-end journey, on a digital journey, leveraging the products from other players plus their own products, positioning themselves as specialized providers of innovative financial services, right? And when we see the big techs, basically their play is a bit different, right? What they are doing is they already have the channels and they already have access to a huge base of users, right? And so they are leveraging those channels and integrated their offering, the traditional offering, to a financial offering within their ecosystems. So this is a bit what we are seeing globally, and this is what we are also seeing in Brazil, right? In Brazil, maybe the traditional banks are innovating a bit more, right, and more into the end-to-end journey versus the traditional banks on other players. And here as well, the fintechs and neobanks are being super aggressive in this sense. So this is a bit on our perspective on how the plays are evolving in the Brazilian market. Again,
Okay, so we have a couple of questions that are very similar. And I'll again ask everyone the question. So how do you believe Brazil's open finance initiatives compare to those in the United States and elsewhere? Gustavo laid out a very nice graph on that, but just what is Brazil doing innovatively instead of replicating other places? And then finally, what are the main, what can a foreign institution learn from what's going on in Brazil that wants to go into open finance?
I think of what's different in Brazil. First, we have learned a lot about implementation, looking at some jurisdictions, for instance, UK. So I think this helps a lot in our process here. So for instance, we saw that we need a standardize and the single standard for everybody, and it should be done by the market, so in a centralized governance structure. We see the issues about customer journey. We should also have this process standardized, because we see that this is a key point in the whole process for the sharing of data. So we see that technical standards should be on the regulation, so to make everybody comply with those standards. And I think we're gonna taking a step forward and trying to make things a little different. For instance, we established the data reciprocity, so it doesn't matter the size of the company. If the company is collecting data, they have to share also the data. We have a proposal of a service through the APIs of forwarding loan proposals. So it's a kind of system that will allows some credit marketplaces, something like that. We also already commented, but the broader and wider scope, the regulations, so include more than just accounts information, but also other investment information. It's very important. And the interoperability with other open initiatives also, I think, is new. It's going to be a very huge challenge, but this it will be important. As Gustavo already mentioned, we are going to an open economy, not just open banking or open finance. So we're gonna have to have this interoperability.
Gustavo, at first we all thought that fintechs will really shine in this process. But then the regulatory implementation requires a profound transformation for everyone. And at this time, the big companies, I think, ended up being more successful. Fintechs had an advantage. They are cloud native, right? They are soft, right? A bank as Banco do Brasil, we have historical data with 50 years, right? 60 years of data to transform and to share. So it's a very difficult job for us. It's very hard, but we know how to do it. And we know how to innovate. Banco do Brasil was the first bank in the world to connect open finance with WhatsApp, right? We know how to do it, but that's right. Fintechs had this advantage. They are soft, they are cloud native, and we have to speed it up to reach them at this point. But they are really running to reach us too, innovation.
Yeah, and maybe, let's see, might be like the banks, the banks come in and then maybe it's a little harder for them once they get to Brazil. But I just wondered if US fintech or, European fintechs can operate in Brazil with this, in this part of the market. Visual.
Of course, they can. I think it's much easier for a fintech to come, but to be part of the open finance ecosystem, the institution must be licensed. So it must be go through the authorization process in Central Bank of Brazil as financial institutions or as a payment institutions. So we created a very simple payment institution, which is the payment initiation service provider. It's a very simple kind of payment institution, but this besides the payment initiation can aggregate data also, so can this kind of institutions can get all the benefits of the open finance. And there is a lower regulatory burden for this kind of institutions also in Brazil. So another way to come is through a partnership. So there is also a possibility of being part of this bank as a service environment that we are seeing, and share channels and share services and products. And so this is also a way of come to Brazil. But in this kind of relationship, the responsibility is still with the licensed institutions. So you can have some cooperation, but the responsibility about the client, the data is still with the licensed institution.
What are the main benefits to Brazil, especially from a societal point of view from open banking, maybe from PIX as well? When I did my dissertation many moons ago, the question was bank penetration, bancarização. and how many people you reach. So I'd like you to please opine on the benefits to Brazil of open banking.
John, I think for Brazil, I would say the democratization to the access of banking services, the increase of competition among participants, which is better, it's healthy for everyone. We can make services cheaper, create new services for micro segments or for each customer. So it's a good thing for the ecosystem. And I would like to say safety. We didn't talk about it, but safety in the process of open finance, it's very important. Not everyone knows, but to participate of the open finance, all the companies must share malware occurrences with the other participants. So we create an environment that's strange than when we isolated it, the behavior of the group, strengthening the security of the system. So I think that's the 3 great points for open finance in Brazil for society.
Thank you all for coming once again, especially to our members. And if you are not a member, please stay and watch the brief video that immediately follows, and members can watch it as well.